Hi guys, it's Miss Chronister again. Here we are in week 4. So you should feel pretty comfortable with online learning right now, unless you joined us kind of late in the game. You should know how to submit assignments, know how to get a hold of me and all that stuff. So if you're not feeling comfortable, please come and talk to me. I want you guys to feel confident in what you're doing and know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and feel good about where you are in the class. So if that's not the case, please come see me, all right? This week we have our first embedded assessment. So that's like a big deal assignment. Make sure you guys are kind of blocking enough time this week to make sure you do a good job on this. So this week is probably going to be a little bit heavier assignment wise, and with the time you spend in this class, you're going to spend a little bit more time this week than you have in the past 3 weeks, okay? So know that now, block out the time, and make sure you're organized and getting all this done, okay? So the first thing is activity 1.11. Now in activity 1.11, you're only doing the writing prompt. I know there's like a number 1 and a number 2 and a check your understanding. You're only doing the writing prompt, okay? So with this, you're going to look back to that transcript that that Mr. O'Connell wrote when he was interviewing Chuck Liddell. All right, so the transcript was just when he had the question, and then underneath of it was Chuck's response. All right, that's the transcript. You're going to look at that transcript and you are going to write like a good solid paragraph in narrative form. So you're going to take the transcript and make it into a narrative interview, okay? So I want to read you a narrative interview again. We had the one, the WMDs, where he was interviewing Chuck Liddell. Remember, there was the narrative interview there. Here's another one, and this is a 1.11. So in Springboard Activity 1.11, there's Excerpt 1 and Excerpt 2. I'm just going to read Excerpt 1. So this says, as we begin the interview, Mrs. Gamer appears stressed, but includes her enthusiastic commentary and gesticulations nonetheless. It seems almost as if she's performing a play as she constructs her answers, and after all, she originally planned to pursue film studies. Upon questioning her about her friend group, this vivacious pseudo-actress begins rambling off an extensive list of names, describing her old group in a dramatic whisper as low drama, high impact. She continues on to outline her favorite classes, revealing a pattern: a class on Chaucer with Dr. Ganem, Baroque art with Dr. Pelzel, American art and architecture with Dr. Carrot. She tells me. Her explanation for her favorite teacher is because he loved Pedro Almodovar just as much as I did. It is from these statements that the picture of a budding librarian emerges. But there's another trend accompanying the conversation. Mrs. Gamer was not the ace student she makes herself out to be. On being asked what her study habits were like, she stares at me with a bewildered, gaping expression. Study habits? She intones gently. So, this is a narrative interview. This is about a post-secondary college experience, which is what you guys will be doing, except yours is going to be much longer than just a paragraph. You are going to write a paragraph, though, off the transcript from Chuck Liddell's interview. All right, so you're going to look at that transcript, write a paragraph, about 10 to 12 sentences, just like this one I just read. You're going to have to kind of like infer what Chuck might have looked like when he said something, what his mannerisms might have been like when he said something. So you have a little bit of a creative license there. But I want you guys to take that transcript and create a big paragraph in narrative form. All right, so that's your 1.11 assignment. For 1.12, you guys are going to plan your own interview. So you can look in the Springboard Activity 1.12. You're going to do steps 1 through 4. All right, so you can do those on the Springboard Activity if you want to download that, or you can copy and paste out of my announcements here. I've got steps 1 through 4 written in your announcements with the table and everything you need. So the first thing you're going to do is brainstorm some people. Come up with a few people, because some people may not be available. Some people may just not want to talk to you. I don't know. So come up with a few options and write down the names of those people and why you would like to interview them about their college experience. All right. Maybe you'd know somebody who went to the best school in the world, Gonzaga, and you want to interview them. Or maybe there's like somebody who's totally opposite what you would do, and you'd be interested to hear why they picked that route for their post-secondary education. So there are multiple reasons why you might pick somebody. None are right or wrong. Then you are going to contact them. So make sure you contact them and ask them if they can, if you can interview them. Also let them know that you're going to be sharing that information with me, so it's not like confidential. So that might deter some people. Some people may not want to do that. I don't know. Step 3, make sure you make your appointment. It would be great if you could make this appointment in person, because if you notice in those narrative interviews, you include stuff like, oh, they had this gaping expression like the woman in the excerpt I just read, or they were fidgeting, or that sort of thing. Those are all important little details to include in your narrative that you're going to miss out on if you're just on the phone. So try to meet with these people in person, or you could FaceTime them, I guess, if you have like a relative in another state or something. But I think it's important for you to see them, because you're going to get a different impact, right? You're going to pick up on all those little nuances that you're going to want to include in your writing. So set the date, make sure you write it down, make sure you're on time, all right? Those are good skills to have. And then most importantly for step 4, you're going to brainstorm your questions that you're going to ask them. So there's 6 questions that you need to ask them, but you could do more. I wouldn't do less, because you're gonna need to write a few paragraphs for your embedded assessment, and you want to have enough material to write a good narrative interview on. So make sure you come up with at least 6 questions. Make sure they're open-ended questions. You don't want your interviewee to just be able to give you a yes or no answer. You also might want to come up with some follow-up questions. So if they answer in a certain way, brainstorm some things that you might want to ask them to get more information out of it, or to get them to tell you a story or something that surrounds that occasion. And then you'll notice there's step 5 and 6. Those talk about partner work and getting in a group, which we can't really do online, but you can always, if you want me to review your questions, I definitely here for you, and I can give you pointers or suggestions, or say, hey, you did an awesome job, go do that interview. So after you do your interview, you're going to do your embedded assessment. This is going to take some time. Block out some time. Know that you can't just rush through this. You are going to write your own narrative. So just like the WMDs, where O'Connor interviewed Chuck Liddell and came up with this story of his experience on that during that interview, and what Chuck was like and what he learned about Chuck. Also, just like this paragraph that I just read to you, and there's another one there if you want another example. You are going to write a transcript, or sorry, not a transcript, a narrative interview. So look back at those examples and model yours after that, all right? So those are examples that you could follow. Just like excerpt 1 says, as we begin the interview, Mrs. Gamer appears stressed. You could start yours exactly the same way. As we begin the interview, my uncle appeared excited, or whatever, however he looked. So those little things you can include. So look back at how those writers wrote and use some of their techniques, all right? Also notice that there is a rubric. So for this embedded assessment, I want it to be about 5 to 7 paragraphs, all right? So it's like an essay. It's gonna be a few paragraphs. Make sure you're including quotes. Make sure you are including some of that like imagery. Make sure you capture their tone, their attitude towards their post-secondary education experience. Make sure it's well structured. Make sure you go in a logical, organized format. If you want me to look over this and help you edit it, we can definitely do that. And as always, you guys can, once you do submit it, if it's not, since it's an embedded assessment, this is a big deal assignment, so if you don't get the grade that you want on it, I can go over it with you and you can make improvements for a better grade, all right? So I'm here to help you. I want you guys to be successful on this. So make sure you're blocking out enough time this week and getting this done and getting it submitted to me, all right? As always, I'm here, so just holler if you need me, okay? See you guys next week.